All right, Through Ultan's Door, issue number 3, part 1 of a 2-part series. I'm not exactly sure why they did that, but it's all well and good. I definitely like this light purple color that it has. I like how each one of these have had a different color. Great piece of art here. And here's the back. And of course, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up, the PDF that is. And I'll have a pinned comment down at the bottom too. So of course, this also comes with one of these great cards that you've seen in the other ones if you've watched this series. And I really like this one. This one is really good. It's not that it has it's like a dungeon or anything like that. I'll explain it to you, obviously. But don't watch this video if you may play it, only if you're going to run it, of course. But I will say, with this being the third one that I've looked at, this series of fanzines in this world and the way that they're made is just very good. It's very imaginative. It's very visual. They've done a great job at describing these things, okay, and the way that they look and their uniqueness. But this is one of the things where I wish that this wasn't a fanzine. I wish it was a full-fledged book, but I would like almost every page to be just have colorful art of everything that they're describing. It doesn't have to be exactly what's in the fanzine, but just this world that has been made. It would just help give it much more, visual representation of what they're describing. I mean, of course, in your imagination, it's always great, but this stuff is so well done and so imaginative. I would love to see almost like a picture book, an art book full of big pictures, colored art of all these different places. So it's great that it's in this format, and of course, it does have some great art throughout it. But at this point, we're beyond the halfway point of looking at these. I believe I've got 2 more. This is just, it deserves to have something even bigger. More color, more art, just a visual feast, really. So this one's cool because it comes with a sewer river kind of map. So we can see, like, it kind of comes with the Fleischguild, which I've talked about before, the Inquisitor's Theater, and so on and so forth. We'll probably be talking about the Dam of the Lurid Toads in the next video. But just a really cool, abstract kind of map here. But it's going to play into what's in this book here. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. So we have our normal kind of the way it looks. It says 28 pages. That gets you to the credits, right? So it says, House Rules for the Slumberland Opium Dreamers on the Sewer River. Rules for transit and encounters, secrets of the sewer river, wondrous items, and then the credits. So this is kind of like a midway point of these fanzines. This is traversing the sewer river. So it's not a dungeon crawl or anything like that. And originally, just looking at it, you may think it's kind of light on content, but it really isn't. So let's take a look. Here's a great piece of art here, and it has house rules for Slumberland Opium Dreamers. And what this is this here is Reginald Cruft, a 19th century American Union veteran of the Civil War, but by 1885, he is a middle-aged failed medical student and raving drug addict. And so what this is this is a different type of class you can play. Or I guess it's kind of like a variant of a magic user where you could add this to your class. I believe that's how it is. That's how I'm interpreting it. So an opium dreamer may be a magic user, druid, illusionist, or cleric. And before each session, the player rolls on a specifically constructed table to see what drug brought them to their second life in the dreamlands. So they take a drug in the waking world and that takes them into the dreamlands. Each form of delirium has its own distinctive qualities and effects, and you have to create your own table, with 1/3 of those possibly being bad trips with penalties, 1/3 being neutral, only providing color, or 1/3 being good trips, providing benefits. It's just a really neat thing here. It explains what happens, of course, should the opium dreamer die in the dreamlands. Their overdose-racked body is found in a filthy garret or a dingy opium den. Shows you how, of course, that connects to it. It's almost like some sort of hacker in a cyber world where it pretty much fries their brain. But just a neat little addition to it. So this is Regiment's, his drug of choice. So you have like morphine, raw corn spirits, nutmeg, opium, hashish, whiskey. And like whiskey gives you your Dreamlands melee attacks are +1. Some things are kind of bad. All physical stats here for taking the cure. All physical stats reduced by 3 for the session, and spell slots reduced by 1. So that's not good. So you're going to get your hands on different drugs, and they're going to affect you in the Dreamlands. And then we have on the Sewer River. It has rules for transit, meaning when you're connected between 2 points. So if we look at the map, I believe this is pretty much nodes. So when you're going maybe from here to here, this is the Inquisitor's Theater to the Catacombs of the Fleisch Guild. Maybe these are nodes. It doesn't really explain it here on the map, but that's how I would take it. So what it tells you is that it takes 2 turns to travel to go downriver between points and 3 turns to go upriver. And when you are moving between 2 nodes on the river, there's a 2 in 6 chance of an encounter. If the encounter is rolled, roll a d12 on the lay of the land to see what the scenery is like where the encounter occurs. I think that's very cool just to have that little bit of an extra roll. It doesn't just say here's an encounter, but like where are you in the sewer river to give a little bit more visual flair. Then you roll on a d100 chart on the encounter chart to see what is encountered. And then you may search for secret locations off the central channel while moving between nodes. It takes an additional turn, and there's a 1 in 6 chance to roll on the secret locations table. Very cool. And that's what is mostly in this book. There are some, obviously some new cool creatures and some pretty powerful ones and some wondrous items. So here's that lay of the land. So maybe around it is the river passes beneath a series of rusted gates, corroded into fixed positions at various heights. The lowest are broken through so vessels may pass. So that just shows you where the encounter may be. And I think that's a very neat thing that other books and supplements and stuff like that, you could make a table for that. I would steal this idea. It's a very easy one, but still very cool. And of course, it's only going to work for something like this sewer river. And then you have encounters, a D100. I think it's actually 21 encounters, but you have, of course, a D100 to do it. It's kind of strange. You could have used a D20, but I guess they wanted to have that one last one in there. So stink cranes, cool piece of art here, nasty creatures, stinky silvery feathers, and they have long needle beaks. They dwell in sewer weeds that will make you stink terribly and increase your chances of encounters as well as lower your charisma. And lots of times they will be sleeping in those reeds. Mucus spinners, they spin translucent, bloated spiders spin thick mucus webs across the sewer river, catching anything rising 1 foot off the surface. And so some really cool creatures here. Iridescent slugs, they glisten in the torchlight, they cling to every surface, especially like the ceiling, and they will fall down on top of the water with a strange hiss. They burn flesh to the touch and will smolder right through a ship or ruin anything that is supposed to hold them in one round. So they're very cool. You could find just burning filth floating down the water. Sewer crabs that use seaweed to keep them afloat will maybe attack you. Here's more of those puddings. Psychic barnacles will attach themselves to your boat and use kind of like a hive mind. They have various mental powers as they try to use their charm and message ability to entice a host to secretly allow the barnacles to attach themselves to their skin. Should they succeed, they magic jar the victim, transferring their group mind into them and placing their soul in their shells. Just very, very cool and, imaginative creature here. Just some strong stuff here, imagination-wise. Floating corpses with some various things on them, floating goods. These lurid toads, which you're going to find out more about in issue 3, part 2, they could be floating down with their huge fleshy sacks hanging on either side of their flabby torsos. There's these mold blooms that have a strong smell that is in essence a psychedelic that could maybe create you, maybe fill you with anger or sadistic fantasies or paranoid delusions. You might find some escapees from maybe one of the upcoming trials. Sewer pirates on a grimy skiff might try to assail you. Here's some of the guildless dream bubbles that float down the sewer passageway just above the surface. They are opaque, mysterious color, and when popped, they produce varied effects. And some of them here, as you see here, are very strange and could lead to some bad stuff to you. You have some merchants where you may be able to buy some goods. The aesthetics of Ilmara, these are some religious fanaticals here, which aren't too bad if you treat them correctly. There's a funeral barge that's floating down, but unfortunately underneath it is a starry cephalopod that might attack you if you mess with the funeral barge. And then there's echoes of elsewhere. Phantasmal panorama of somewhere else bleeds through, letting you see some other areas of Zion and the dreamlands here in the sewer. And then you have Saphea, the prophetess of the muddled waters. She is a sewer dragon, and some great information about how she acts, the way she looks. She kind of looks like she has copper scales and a catfish head. She's got a soft belly, and the way that she is, how she's old and shrewd. She likes to be impressed. She will offer a prophecy or a wish, but it's always, if she gives a wish, it's always either broken or rotten or stinking. A wish for a magical blade delivers one ruined and corroded, and a wish for powers brings abilities that are broken and tarnished, or that function only in the presence of raw sewage, and so on. So she's a very cool NPC monster here. And then, like I said about the secret locations, if you are able to find one, you may be able to find a shortcut that allows you to jump between nodes without having to roll for encounters from then on, then on out. Maybe you find a channel to Zion above. You can find some stashed goods. Here's the Fin of the Crane May. She's kind of like a hag of the terrible stink cranes, and she absolutely hates Saphea, the sewer dragon. And it has kind of her information too, and how she is, and her stink cranes. She has a very important item with her, the Manual of Yawning Incantations, which I'll talk about in the back. Here's the Verdant Purveyor. This is a pirate ship that floats down with their captain, Freehand Hessock, and you may be able to talk to them without them killing you. Maybe use some sort of communication there to hopefully not be attacked by them. But if you do, you can take it to them, and they've got a lot of goods and stuff. Here is the Lair of Saphea. Here she has the diadem of Crane May, which is described here. Anybody that has this item, it's Crane May's. She hates them. But what it does is it allows you, those within 20 feet, to feel the rush of a warm summer breeze. It allows the wearer to control all stink cranes within 120 feet radius at will, and to see through the eyes of any stink crane within 1 mile as the clairvoyance spell 3 times a day. But whoever takes the diadem will evoke the boundless wrath of Crane May until it is returned. So very cool, and again, very well described the way it looks. Here we have the Manual of Yawning Incantations. It's in a metal box that's described, and then the way that the book is inside. It has some spells in it, but it also has a recipe for the potion of penumbral transmigration. And that's very important, and that will explain it here. The potion is a potion that you create. It places the drinker in a deep slumber. If it is consumed in the waking world, you can pretty much dwell on a memory of a location in the witchery, and as they fall asleep, a carriage-sized vermilion cyst will unfold from their slumbering cerebellum, encasing them within 1 round. From the back of the interior of this penumbral cyst grows a shimmering prioduct, a tube that snakes through the oniric sea to the remembered location in witchery. So in essence, it allows you to go from the waking world into a certain place in the dreamlands. But if that prioduct is destroyed or takes damage or something, there could be a catastrophe that happens, and you're going to roll on this. It could summon up creatures. It could create a storm. It could be very bad for you. So you definitely don't want that. And then here at the end, we have the Smirk Slaughter, which is a cool jet black glazed wood dagger with the face of an ape carved into it. And it is very good. It's a smart weapon. It's very good at stabbing prone or surprised foes, but it will always try to compel you, the owner, to slay prone foes with cruelty. So very cool piece of art, which brings me to the rest of what I want to say about this. And definitely in this third one here, as we've gotten through more and more of these. So these fanzines are great. Don't get me wrong. They're great quality. They're written really well. There's a lot of words that I don't know. They're colorful words that probably aren't used very much in normal speech. But this deserves so much more, I feel. At this point of reading the third one, it deserves to have pretty much a full-color book, just absolutely every page full of amazing art to describe and show off this imagination here. They've done a great job at this with these, and it only deserves more. So Ben Lawrence, again, writing and art direction, just has done an incredible job. The more I look at these, the more I really like them, but the more I want more of them. Fanzines are cool, again, high quality, but I would love to see almost like a complete art book of this place, and showing the sewer river and a lot of these, NPCs and these monsters, everything about it. I would just like to have a lot more, but they do a good job at describing stuff. They use a lot of colorful language to kind of bring it to life, but it's a lot of this stuff is so unique and so cool that I would just like to see it, really well done art in an art book for it. So there it is through Ultan's door. Check out the PDF. I'll have a link down in the description, of course, pinned in the comments. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I'm going to have more coming up soon. I've been a little busy with my real life job and everything else that's going on. But I hope to get more on a more frequent schedule if I can. But check out this one. I'll have part 2 down the road. And then I think there's one last one that I have to show you, and we'll finish up with everything about through Ultan's door. So there it is. Thank you very much. Very cool, once again, fanzine to add on to your through Ultan's door adventures. This one I think is really, really useful. So thanks a lot.